This lesson is for the volume of spheres and cylinders. We're going to hold off on cones and pyramids until the next lesson. So when we talk about spheres, spheres have a lot of similar characteristics to their two-dimensional circles. So this part of the sphere from the center to the outside of it is still actually called the radius. There is a center to your sphere. And if you talk about any cross sections of spheres, you are going to end up with a circle, no matter where you're cutting it. It just depends how large your radius or your diameter or radius would actually be in that case. So, volume of a sphere is found with this formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. Basically, you just take the radius, cube it, multiply it by 4/3 times pi. So for this first example, our radius is 6. So volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So 4/3 times pi times 6 cubed. On your calculator to do cubed, you're going to actually have to use the caret button. It's right here. Or you can use the x cubed button if you have one of those. If you have the cubed, you would just press 6 and then the cubed button, which will do it for you, or 6 caret and then the 3. Either one are going to give you the same answer, which here is 216. So we're going to have 4/3 times pi times 216. Now, just like we saw before, we can actually leave this in terms of pi. So if we do 4/3 times 216, we get 288 pi, which is approximately, we're going to use 3.14 still, 904.32 cubic millimeters then. We're back to cubic because we are talking about volume here. The next page, 2 more examples for you. Here we've given the diameter, so the radius is 11. Volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So 4/3 pi times 11 cubed. 11 cubed is going to be 1,331. If I multiply that by 4/3, I actually end up with a fraction. If you want to keep it that way, you do need to change your fraction to an improper fraction. You cannot put it down as a mixed number. So you'll have to use the shift and then hit the fraction button again. Your improper fraction here looks like this times pi. In that case, I definitely say let's go ahead and multiply by 3.14, and we get 5,572.4533. So let's round to the nearest tenth, which is fine, so we'll go 0.5 centimeters cubed. The next one, your radius is 5, so volume is 4/3 times pi times 5 cubed. 5 cubed is going to be 125. And that is not going to be divisible by 3, which means when we do 4/3 times 125, we are going to end up with a fractional answer. And as an improper fraction, it's 500/3 pi, which is going to be approximately 523.3 repeating, so we'll just say 0.3 because it says to round to the nearest tenth. A volleyball has a diameter of 10 inches. Diameter is 10, which tells me the radius is 5. A pump can inflate the ball at a rate of 325 cubic inches per minute. How long will it take to inflate the ball? So for inflating it, we're filling it with air, so we're looking for volume. So 4/3 times pi times 5 cubed. We actually just calculated that up here. So we know our volume is approximately 523.3 inches cubed. We are going to just go for a real number here. We know that we can get 325 cubic inches in 1 minute. So we need to know we're filling up 523.3 cubic inches in X minutes. So we're going to Hart method here. Divide by 325. you get 1.61 minutes. Now this is 1.6, we can go because it says nearest tenth. So we either have 1 minute and 6/10 of a minute, so you have to remember that a tenth of a minute would be a tenth of 60 seconds. So 0.6 would actually be 0.6 times 60, or 36 seconds. So this would be 1 minute and 36 seconds. So next one, hemispheres. So a circle separates a sphere into two congruent halves, each called a hemisphere. If we're looking for a hemisphere, it's half of a sphere. So if we're looking for the volume of it, we just put a 1/2 out front times our 4/3 pi r cubed. Our radius is 5, so 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times 5 cubed. And if I do 1/2 times 4/3 times 5 cubed, I'm going to leave pi in my mix, I get a mixed number, so change it to an improper, which is 250/3 pi, which is going to be approximately 261.7, because we're going to the nearest tenth, centimeters cubed. The next page we talks about a cylinder. It's a three-dimensional figure with two parallel and congruent circular bases connected by the curved surface. We talk about the volume. So we've already done volume equals BW and use that for a cylinder, but there is kind of a basic formula here. We can just plug in pi r squared times the height. The pi r squared takes the place of the B, and the h takes the place of the w in our old formula. So this is just a way that other textbooks will show it to you, and your 8th grade formula sheet will have this too. So volume equals pi r squared h. This says round to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to have 3.14 times 5 squared times the height is 8.3. To the nearest tenth, this is going to be about 651.6 centimeters cubed. So this next one is kind of a compound one. Telling you to use cube-shaped beads to make jewelry. Each bead has a circular hole through the middle. Find the volume. So we're really taking, this is 12, 12, it's a cube, so all the sides are actually 12. And we're going to take out that cylinder that's in the center. So we have a cube minus a cylinder. So cube is length times width times height, and your cylinder is pi r squared times the height. So your cube is all sides are the same, so just 12 cubed minus 3.14. Your radius, that goes all the way across is 2, which means my radius is 1. And your height is how tall the cube is, which is actually 12. So 12 cubed is going to give you 1,728. And 3.14 times 1 squared times 12 is 37.68. So 1728 minus 3768 is going to give you 1,690.32 cubic millimeters then for her bead that she's using. One more page to this section. Another compound one up here at the top. Building models of the storage checks like the ones shown. To donate, find the volume. So in this one we have a rectangular prism. And we also have this, which actually, if you look at it, straight across the edge, it's actually half of a cylinder. So length times width times height plus half pi r squared times your height. So we'll just do length, width, height. So 25 times 50 times 30 plus 1/2 times 3.14. My radius, this is all the way across here, is 25, which means my radius is half of that, or the height of it is this length here, which is 50. So 25 times 50 times 30 is 37,500. plus half times 3.14 times 12.5 squared times 50 . 12,265.6. We'll go ahead and round that off there. So 12,265.6 plus 37,500 is 49,765.6 cubic centimeters.